Welcome back, Raiders. I hope you guys have been enjoying launch week as much as I have, as I've been grinding the game like crazy to help answer what is by far the most frequently asked question in the live stream, and that is, how do I know what to keep, sell, and recycle in Arc Raiders? And while I obviously don't have everything in the game unlocked just yet, I now have a good enough understanding of the game's economy and progression systems to confidently deep dive into Inventory 101. Today we're going to cover high-level looting and inventory tips, what you'll need for both Scrappy and Workshop upgrades, where you can find important quest items, as well as which resources you should be holding on to for some of the best crafts in the game. If you find this video useful and want to stay up to date with everything Arc Raiders, be sure to subscribe to the channel so you never miss another upload. Now without further ado, let's get into it. Let's kick things off with a few high-level inventory and looting tips. First things first, I highly recommend keeping at least one stack of each unique item that you find. I know we're limited on stash space, but as you progress through the game, you'll quickly realize just how many items actually have value, and you'll be kicking yourselves if you get rid of them. Second, you should always be looting your arc kills. You'll need every enemy-specific item for future workshop upgrades, so the earlier you start collecting these, the less painful these steps will be. You'll also want to go out of your way to loot these arc power cells, as they're an essential early game resource for your shield rechargers, and this is the only way to get them. Third, there are 5 basic materials that are commonly used in crafting, including chemicals and fabric, as well as metal, plastic, and rubber parts. Metal parts are arguably the most important of the bunch, as they're required to craft ammo, which can definitely become a bottleneck if you're not actively looting these materials. Fourth, most valuables can be sold for money as you work towards expanding your stash space early on. But as you begin to stabilize a bit, I would start holding on to at least one copy of each of them for potential quest requirements down the line. It's important to start building these habits, and the earlier you do so, the more you'll speed up your progress. Now let's go station by station to showcase what you'll need to max out your workshop. We're going to skip past the basic level 1 upgrades for each of these, as you guys can already see these in your workshops in-game, and move straight into the higher tier items that you'll need to level up each station. Starting with our good friend Scrappy, level 3 requires 3 lemons and 3 apricots, level 4 requires 6 prickly pears, 6 olives, and 1 cat bed, while the 5th and final level requires 12 apricots, 12 mushrooms, and 3 very comfortable pillows. These fruit items can be pretty difficult to find if you're not sure where to look, which is why I recommend waiting for lush events to hit specific maps for a 2x chance at fruit drops. You can also find fruit in these baskets scattered around various maps, or head to Blue Gate's Olive Grove and loot several different fruits from here. Prickly pears can be found in the hills of Victory Ridge on damn battlegrounds near these cactuses, or in Old Town on Buried City, while mushrooms typically grow on the side of rusted metal scraps or in swampy areas. And I'm sure there are plenty of other places to find these, so if you've had success with this, drop a comment to help your fellow raiders down in the comments below. Cat beds and comfortable pillows can be found in most high-tier loot zones, but are definitely a bit more RNG. Next, we're going to skip right on past the Workbench, as this will always remain at level 1, and head right over to the Gear Bench that's used to craft higher tier augments and shields. Level 2 requires 3 power cables, 5 electrical components, and 5 Hornet drivers, while level 3 will need 3 industrial batteries, 5 advanced electrical components, and 6 bastion cells. This is not only the first example of enemy-specific requirements, these are also some of the most difficult upgrade materials to obtain, as bastions require far more firepower to take down. My recommendation here is to save any Wolfpack grenades you find and bring them into night raids, allowing you to target farm higher level enemies as a group. Night raids typically double the number of rare components you'll find, which really helps speed up this process. Moving on to the Gunsmith, this station specializes in craftable weapons and attachments as you unlock their blueprints, with level 2 requiring 3 rusted tools, 5 mechanical components, and 8 wasp drivers, while level 3 requires 3 rusted gears, 5 advanced mechanical components, and 4 sentinel firing cores. Firing cores are probably the hardest item to find here if you don't know where to look, as these only drop from the sniper variant of arc turrets known as sentinels that use their laser beam to track you. Spawns of these enemies aren't always guaranteed, so it may take you some time to collect them. Next up, we have the medical lab, used for crafting healing items such as shield rechargers, bandages, and defibrillators. Level 2 requires 2 cracked bioscanners, 5 durable cloth, and 8 tick pods, while level 3 needs 3 rusted shut medical kits, 8 antiseptic, and 5 surveyor vaults. You'll want to make sure to loot medical areas for the medical kits and antiseptic, while arc surveyors can be a bit more difficult to find as they randomly appear in the wild. If you ever see a blue beam shining into the sky, this is an arc surveyor that can be pursued and killed for its surveyor cores. The refiner may just be the most important station in the entire workshop, as it allows you to craft components that feed into crafting recipes at all other workstations. For level 2, you'll need 3 toasters, 5 arc motion cores, and 8 fireball burners, while level 3 requires 3 motors, 10 arc circuitry, and 6 bombardier cells. Toasters can be found in kitchens of residential buildings, motors can be found in broken down vehicles and buses, while arc circuitry can be found while breaching arc probes out in the wild. Moving on to the utility station, this one's focused on items that help you maneuver through or escape from maps. Level 2 requires 2 damaged heat sinks, 5 electrical components, and 6 of the snitch scanners, while level 3 needs 3 fried motherboards, 5 advanced electrical components, and 4 of the leaper pulse units. This one is the perfect example of a bench that requires damaged items that look like they don't actually have value on the surface, but end up being used for high-level upgrades, so keep an eye out for these. And last but not least, we have the explosive station, which is used to craft grenades, traps, and smokes, and requires 3 synthesized fuel, 5 crude explosives, and 5 pop triggers at level 2, and 3 laboratory reagents, 5 explosive compounds, and 3 rocketeer drivers at level 3. The rocketeer parts will obviously stand out for a lot of you guys, but if you use the Wolfpack tip that I mentioned earlier, it makes these drivers much easier to come by. Now that we've gone through the materials that you'll need to upgrade your workshop, let's go station by station to showcase which items are actually worth crafting. Starting with the workbench, in the early game, this station will become your best friend. But funnily enough, there are only 3 crafts that I actually recommend here. The first is obviously ammo, which requires metal parts and chemicals to produce across all 4 ammo types, with the other 2 being shield rechargers and bandages. Shield rechargers use rubber parts and arc power cells, while bandages require fabric. If I had to give a couple pieces of advice here, it would be to go out of your way recycling common items down into metal scraps and looting downed arc drones for their power cells every single raid. If you ignore doing this, you'll really start to run into bottlenecks with both of these items, 2 of the most frequently used things in the entire game. These basic augments and weapons just aren't worth crafting, as you can turn free kit augments into lance for a free upgrade of your choice, while basic weapons and light shields are commonly found in free kit loadouts. As for the gearbench, everything above uncommon rarity is absolutely worth crafting here. You may not have all of these craftable blueprints unlocked just yet, but you should come across them over time. This bench is very straightforward, as all 3 rare augments take the same number of electrical components and magnets to produce, with the medium shield requiring arc circuitry and batteries to craft. These require the same materials to repair, but just 1 of each to do so. An important note here is that batteries are not a craftable resource, so I highly recommend holding on to these, as it takes 4 batteries to craft a single medium shield. I'll hover over the epic shields and augments so you guys can get an idea about which resources to start hoarding, but I'm not going to cover them as in depth since we're still so early in the game. The Gunsmith is far more subjective based on the types of weapons and attachments you like using, as well as which blueprints you've unlocked so far. And just like the Workbench, the only weapons I don't recommend crafting are the starter ones due to their availability with the free loadout feature. In general, uncommon weapons will use mechanical components and simple gun parts, while higher tier weapons will use gun parts that match their ammo type. For example, heavy ammo weapons will use heavy gun parts, medium will use medium gun parts, and light will use light gun parts for a really simple system to follow. All 3 use advanced mechanical components and 1 additional resource to produce, which is why I recommend honing in on your favorite weapons and attachments to craft, and then getting used to looting those materials on a regular basis. While you can still craft more basic healing items in the medical lab, this bench unlocks the ability to craft bandages and shield rechargers that are far more efficient than their base variants. For example, herbal and sterilized bandages have the same 1.5 second use time as the basic bandage, but heal you for 3.5 health and 5 health per second, which is significantly faster. Both of these items use durable cloth to craft, while the herbal bandages require mullen and sterilized bandages require antiseptic. These higher tier heals get you back in fights faster, so you definitely want to transition to these as you progress into the mid game. You even have the possibility of finding blueprints like the Vita Spray and Vita Shot, two endgame healing items with instant healing effects that both require antiseptic as well. You also have rare shield rechargers that recover 50 shield health in just 5 seconds, compared to the uncommon shield recharger that only provides 40 shield health over a 12-second period when you factor in both use time and duration together. This requires one electrical component and advanced arc power cell to craft, which means you'll need to be killing higher tier arc enemies to craft these consistently. Next, we have the Refiner, which is easily the most complex and arguably the most important bench in your entire workshop, as its main purpose is to produce materials that will be used for crafting at other stations. Every single item on this screen is valuable in one way or another, and to avoid you guys sitting here listening to me yap about it for 15 straight minutes, we're gonna quickly hover each item so you can see exactly what's required to produce them. And you'll already start to notice some really valuable resources that have already been talked about in previous stations. For example, the Refiner allows you to produce both mechanical and advanced mechanical components that are used to craft weapons like the Anvil and Venator at the Gunsmith. You also have durable cloth that's used to craft both of the higher tier bandages at the med station, and arc circuitry that are used to craft and repair medium shields. As you hover over each item, pay attention to what each item can be crafted into, then explore your workshop and figure out where you can start doing so. Next, we have the utility station, and this one's a bit hit and miss for me. You obviously have some of the strongest items in the game, like the Raider's Hatch Key and even the Lure Grenade, but you also have some extremely niche use case items like the Binoculars, Lil Smoke Grenade, and Yellow Light Stick. The other items are good, but are definitely more niche in their use cases. The Hatch Key requires one advanced electrical component and 3 sensors to craft, while the Lure Grenade requires 1 speaker and 1 electrical component. And without going too in-depth, I'll quickly hover the rest of the items should you want to craft them. And finally, we have the explosive station, which is easily one of the most underrated benches in your entire workshop, as some of these items can completely change how you approach fights in Arc Raiders. When looking at these options in the early game, pick a couple that sound interesting to you, then go have fun and try them out. Early on, you'll mainly be crafting simple grenades that only need chemicals and either rubber or plastic parts to craft, but as you upgrade the station, you'll unlock some really high tier items like the explosive mine, fuse grenade, and wolfpack grenade that can completely swing fights against both players and Arc alike. These all utilize explosive compound, with the fuse grenade requiring 2 canisters, while the explosive mine and wolfpack both use sensors. And I'm sure there are other crazy grenades I don't even have access to just yet, but hopefully this gives you an idea about just how strong some of these items can be. And that's it! Everything you need to know about Inventory 101 in Arc Raiders. I know it can be overwhelming at times to understand which items you should actually hang on to, and hopefully this video helped answer some of those questions for you. If you found this guide useful, liking this video and sharing it with a friend really does help the channel grow. We're on the road to 100K, and any support is greatly appreciated. You can also swing by the live stream over at twitch.tv/above if you have any additional questions, or just want a fun place to hang while we push for max level and the top 100 leaderboards. Anyways, that's it from me. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll catch you topside.